Top of the morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning. You know, I kind of like this overcast.
I do too.
Yeah.
It makes it better for recording. I was
Yeah.
actually kind of excited that it wasn't raining yet.
I feel like I have this natural glow happening.
Right.
Like, ambiance.
I was trying to think about what I did this weekend, and I don't remember Saturday at all. Like, it's gone. I went to a meeting.
Okay.
I don't remember the rest of it, though. Friday was great. I hung out with some friends. That was much needed.
Okay. We were chilling out in the cabin. That was pretty incredible.
All weekend?
Well, we got there Friday night and then rested Saturday. Alex's mom came with.
Oh, that's nice.
So we had a nice little family time.
Nice.
And then what else took place? I got a sunburn. Yeah. Like, this is real. This is real.
Alrighty.
Goodness.
Good Monday morning to all of you out there in social media land. I am Ray.
And I am Michael.
And we are here with Still Here Recovery. And today we are going to talk about long-term recovery, what that looks like, and our perspectives on it.
Yeah.
So you want to do the reading?
Yeah, of course I will.
So
every time we get together, we're going to start with a daily devotional, and this one for today is actually today's, and I think it's perfect. So let me get my handy dandy reading glasses. There we go. I feel like it could be Blue's Clues. Like, this is happening. All right. So June 6th, it says, "Fortunate are the people whose roots are deep." And it says, "A tree's roots seek water and mineral. Though the roots can't easily be seen, they're there. The life of the tree depends on them. The stronger the tree's roots, the higher a tree can grow." It says we need to set deep roots in the soil of recovery. The soil of recovery is made up of the 12 steps, fellowship, and service to others. We'll have to get through the storms and high winds in our return to health. In doing so, we'll become beautiful, strong, and spiritual. We'll be able to live with both the gentle breeze and the heavy winds of life. This is prayer for the day. Higher power, help me believe in what I can't see. Just as I believe the roots of a tree are there because I see the leaves, I believe in a higher power because I can see the results.
I love that, especially with our topic today, talking about those roots and waiting out storms and all that good stuff. Because it's for me, it's easier to stay sober when things are going really good.
Yeah.
It's when life hits that I'm like, oh, it's a little bit different.
It's like, do I want to second guess this? No.
Right.
Never.
So I'm going to jump right in. I have 5 years sober. And the one thing that I have figured out is that the best way to continue to achieve a new day of sobriety or another day is just to keep doing the work, even on the days you don't want to. So some of the things that, I'll just start off here. Some of the things that I have managed to find my way through as life has hit have been things like when COVID hit, I had just opened my business, put all my life savings into it, and COVID hit, and I couldn't work for 3 months, and I had to close everything down. And I know you'll get this because you're a business owner, but that was such a defeating moment for me. I was in bed for 3 months once I closed the doors down.
Wow.
Because I couldn't, my all went over that. The only other thing I have invested more of myself than my studio has been my recovery. That's it. I've never put so much of myself into a project or any type of passion like I did my studio. So that was really, really hard to navigate through. And if I was to say I did not think about using during that time, I'd be a liar. But I didn't. That's not the only time that I've had those thoughts. I've got a whole list of things that I've made it through in my life. This is something I see a lot of people go back out on. Toxic relationships. I have made it through in sobriety through a very toxic relationship, and I didn't use ending it. In fact, if anything, I was able to grow from that experience, even though it was very, very painful. I've had a lot of friends pass away. That's another time that I've had that, they use, so can I. Like, I don't want to feel this way. And then most recently, I've been diagnosed with a degenerative joint disease. I'm not really open about this. So some people might be hearing this and being kind of shocked by it, just because I am kind of private about it. It's severe. I'm still not okay with this because I just recently found this out. I was going for knee pain. I wasn't going for my hip or anything like that, but come to find out, I've got this degenerative joint disease from my knee all the way up into my neck, and it is severe, which means a long line of surgeries, unfortunately. And accompanying that is a lot of pain. So that's what I've been dealing with here most recently. And again, like I said, all these things I'm talking about are situations that have arose to where I have had that creepy voice somewhere located about here that says, hey, you know what, you can stop this pain, you can handle it. I'm going to talk about most recently, though, because of this degenerative joint disease and everything that's going on, a lot of my friends who are amazing to me, who love me and care about me, they have been, some of them are even in the medical field, and they understand the disease that I have, and they understand the pain. And they said, a lot of people with the severity that you have are on pain medicine. I'm somebody who has lost that privilege. I cannot manage. I don't do well with that because in my past, I abused it as much as I possibly could. My last relapse wasn't on alcohol. My last relapse was on pills. So me taking pills for pain management is not exactly a good fit for Miss Rachel right now. But a lot of my friends, or 3 of my friends, have recently offered me Vicodin, hydrocodone, Percocet, and Tramadol. Oh, having to say no to that was very difficult. At first, it was not difficult, by the way. The first time, it was like, I really appreciate that, but no, I'm not interested. And the second time, it was like, oh, maybe that's something I should consider. But no, I'm not interested right now. But that third time, I'm going to be real with y'all. That third time that I got offered something for pain relief, I said no, but I was really pissed off about it. I was really, really pissed off about it. I was pissed off because I can't be a normie. I'm pissed off that I don't have that privilege anymore. I am pissed off that my easier, softer way is abstinence from that kind of stuff as long as possible, because I really appreciate the mental and emotional sobriety that I have now, being off of that. So it's been a really, really rough week. Whenever life hits, in my experience, whenever life hits and you have that creeping feeling in the back that you want to use, you want a timeout, you deserve a break, whatever your thing is, those are all things that I've been saying to myself in this last week and I've had to call myself out on. I have to understand that I have to sit still with those emotions. I have to sit very, very still and listen to what my body and my mind is trying to tell me, because if I ignore it, it's going to be hard for me. It's going to be tough. Like, it takes a toll after a while, and that I need a break thing becomes like, oh, yes, I do. Whenever really I don't. So something that I sorted through this last time was I went through, an amazing friend of mine pointed out to me that I use the 12 steps in my personal program. And this friend pointed out that I might not be putting step 1 into my disease. And at first I rebelled and I thought, oh, get out of my program. Don't tell me what I'm doing and what I'm not doing. And I didn't outwardly, I don't think anybody would have suspected that was going on upstairs, but that was definitely like, I got a little salty about it, and I really had to spend some time in meditation over this. But you know, she was 100% right. I was not. So step one for me is, I admit I am powerless over alcohol. I'm saying parentheses in alcohol because right now it's this disease. So I am powerless over this disease, and my life has become unmanageable. Dude, having to face that, I don't want to admit my life has become unmanageable. Like, I get choked up talking about it right now. But like, seriously, I've had to adapt. I can't even go to the grocery store like I used to. I can't hang out with my kid like I used to. Last year I was jumping on this trampoline with my little one, and I can't do that anymore. Even my mental headspace, I get really snappy with people on my painful days. So my life has become unmanageable. And I have to admit, I am powerless over this freaking disease, because I'm still trying to meet this level of expectation like I'm still healthy. Like, I can still get all of these things done. I don't need help. I can do it on my own. And that is such bullshit. And I had to sit still and listen to myself and feel all these emotions. And I realized I'm in grief with who I used to be. And I wanted to bring this up because I think no matter what stage of recovery you're in, I think we all can have this commonality of experiencing grief. If you're a very newcomer, you're going to grieve the loss of your old friends and your old life and what you used to be able to do. And even me with 5 years, I'm grieving the person I used to be whenever I was healthy. I'm also grieving the sense of security of what my future will look like. I no longer have that, and I didn't have it to begin with. I was delusional thinking that I did, but like, I don't know what that looks like for me now. So I looked at the stages of grief and how that is applicable to my life in sobriety and recovery now. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then finally acceptance. I am not at acceptance yet. I'm trying my best, but if I'm honest about this, like, I'm still depressed about it. I'm still angry about it. I'm still bargaining. Like, I didn't understand that. Bargaining is focusing on the past or the future. The reason me not being able to walk like I used to is bothering me is because I hike. I've hiked in California, in Kentucky, in Indiana, in Oklahoma, in Tennessee. I love hiking, and I can't do that anymore. And then freaking Facebook bring up these things from the past, like, oh, 6 years ago today, you're in Yosemite. Yep, I sure was. And there I am, stuck in the past, still trying to bargain with myself I can be that person again. I don't know if I'm going to be able to be that person again. I need to stop worrying about it, though, and I need to really focus on who I am today. That's something that I've realized. I need to stop bargaining. Now, I understand that I need to, but it doesn't mean I'm there yet. I'm a beautiful work in progress, but I'm just letting you know where I'm at and how I navigate through this stuff in recovery, because it's not easy at all. So the thing that I realized, I'm going to let Michael speak in a second, I promise.
You're good.
But the thing that I realized, thanks to my friend pointing out this whole, I'm not, step oneing this. I'm not admitting that I'm powerless. I'm not admitting that my life has become unmanageable. I'm not surrendering this aspect of my life over to the care of God as I understand it. I'm not giving it over to my Creator. And the reason is because surrender in my little addict mind meant defeat. I am not willing to give up on this yet. I'm not willing to stop fighting this yet. And that's somewhere it got confused in my headspace. So I had to look at the difference between surrender and defeat, because I was taking this all as a huge monumental failure. And so defeat means you've given up on the situation ever changing. So that's where I was. I wasn't willing to give up that it's not going to change. Surrender, on the other hand, means that you're ready to give this situation its own time to change. I was trying to bulldog this and rush it like nobody's business. And that doesn't work for people in recovery, because I need to sit still. I need time to feel these emotions and to sort this out. And there's a big difference between surrendering to what life throws at you and admitting defeat. I might feel like it's a defeat, but really, I'm just giving the situation its own time to grow, its own time to adapt, its own time to settle in and to feel how things are. I'm going to take a pause there.
Okay. Rachel, thank you so much. Like that, I don't know, like, thank you for your vulnerability and sharing that narrative. And thank you for your willingness to go in depth and explain what you've been going through this past week. Like that's incredible. And I know for myself, it helps me stay accountable and stay humble in the aspect of we just got to be open daily to change and to sharing with others. So thank you.
Right.
So for those of you who have been following us, one of the things that we're doing is we're going through different phases and stages of recovery and different components that being a newcomer and having a little time under your belt, like the differences between the two, and at the same time, the similarities, right? And so last week we talked about being a newcomer in recovery and talked about the toolbox and developing that toolbox and the different things. Like for myself personally, it's been meetings, it's been reaching out to my sponsor, it's been fellowship, extreme fellowship, and it's just been about immersing myself to give myself a solid foundation, right? And after some time, I would expect that because of the benefits of staying sober, life begins to take a whole new turn, if you will, while staying sober. Tell me and explain, if you don't mind, how has life shifted from the beginning of your recovery to what tools do you still utilize today to, how does recovery look after having some time?
Okay, so going back to that reading, it talked about a tree, and I'm infatuated. I mean, I'm infatuated with trees. So that's part of the reason why I like that reading so much, is because in the beginning, we're putting roots down. But we don't know where they're going. We don't know what we're doing. We're just trusting everybody around us. Like, we are so weak and so vulnerable at the beginning. And like, man, I'm going to do this stuff, but it's only because I'm trusting you. That's the only reason I'm doing that. And if you can find this place to where your higher power, if you can get comfortable with your creator, I feel like at that moment, things get a little bit easier. That was very difficult for me. It took me months before I could sit down and pray and sincerely mean it, not just because somebody was telling me, but because I actually wanted to. Right. So here's the big difference, is that after using our toolbox, after a while, those roots become very established. So it's no longer doing it because I trust that you say it's going to happen. I now continue to do these because I've now seen it take place in my life. Like talking about like all that crap that I went through, like, where's that list at? So I make it through a very toxic relationship, so I understand that I'm confident enough to where I can find my way through that situation. And then COVID hit, and then I was like, wait, if I can get through that crazy scenario, I can get through this. Now, I spent 3 months in bed, but I got through it. It was ugly, it was brutal, I crawled, but I got through it. So what's happened is that those roots have now allowed me to establish such a strong amount of recovery that now I see the fruit of my recovery. When before I couldn't, I was just having to trust everybody around me. And now I know, like, no. When I went through that thing, I sat still, I prayed, I listened to myself, and I got through it. So now, what do? I don't like it, but I sit still, I pray, and I figure my way through it. I did have a list here of things that have helped me along the way, because life will hit you. It's going to happen. People pass away around here. People break up. I've seen people lose their jobs. I've seen people in crazy injuries, and they have to sort their way through that around the tables. Like, you see a lot of life on life's terms. And so some of the things that I have in my personal toolbox, keep in mind, if you all watched last week, listen to my toolbox at 5 years, and what Michael said his was, because you might hear something similar. So like my network, being able to self-reflect, being able to pray, self-care, all my coping skills, meditation, like all of those things are vital to me staying focused. And then, do you know the acronyms for fear?
Do tell. I've heard so many.
Okay, so it's face everything and recover, or fear everything and run.
Yep. Yeah.
So right under that, like, and there's always that pivotal point for me to where like, okay, so let's go back to me after COVID hit and 3 months in bed and my studio closed down and I'm financially bankrupt and I have to go to food pantries and like, it was a whole, like, my world turned upside down really quick. Oh, and I'm homeschooling 3 kids because everything is shut down. Like it was insane. There's a pivotal point there to where I can either run or I can focus on my recovery. And I have to make up that mind, because until I do make up my mind to focus on my recovery, I'm running even though I'm laying in my bed.
Right.
That's just how it is. So whenever I decide to work on my recovery, I have to remind myself that I need to lean into it. I need to stop like just barely hanging on, like just and getting drugged away. I need to make sure that I'm leaning in as aggressively as I can, because that's how my addiction, it'll sneak up behind me. And I just need to make sure that I'm really focused on my recovery a little bit harder than what I probably normally am. Trusting the basics. That is a huge one to me, because even though I have 5 years, I need to remember that these basics were taught to me for a reason.
Right.
I can't ignore them. I still have to go to meetings. I still have to reach out to my sponsor. I still have to keep a good network. I still need to do a gratitude list every single day. 5 years later, that's what I need for my own personal recovery. So I have to trust those basics. They were instilled in me as my roots. And if I really focus on keeping those roots healthy, then I can produce a beautiful canopy in my personal recovery tree. Staying connected is a really big one. I have gone through multiple times to where I have backed away from recovery. Not that it did me any damage. I fortunately was blessed where I could go to a meeting maybe once every 2 weeks. And I spent that personal time really focused on my spirituality.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that have backed away, and I don't see them anymore. So even the times that I have made it a point to back away so I can focus on my own personal growth, I have to stay connected. And connected doesn't necessarily mean going to meetings. It means I've got some friends in recovery that I will talk to even if I'm not coming around, because I need to stay connected. And then focus on my growth. And again, this is that point where I have to make that pivotal turn. Which way do I want to go? I can sit and I can milk it and I can cry and I can pout, or I can focus on my growth. And where I want to see me in a year from now is some gangster growth. And if I want to reach that goal, that achievement, whatever that looks like in a year from now, I need to start making steps now and start taking action now to do that. So that's what's in my personal toolbox at 5 years. All that is in his toolbox.
Yeah. Every bit. I love it. It's like the application, or the things that we cling to in the beginning become the exact same things that we use further down the line, right?
Yeah.
Now, earlier, you and I were having a chat, and you'd mentioned a pretty staggering statistic. Like, can you share with them what that is?
All right. So I hear a lot of statistics floating around in recovery rooms, but I wanted to do my own homework on this. And the main reason I wanted to look at this is because, and you had mentioned it this morning too, there have been times that I've been in meetings with people that came in the rooms around the same time I did. So we're talking people that have 8, 7, 6, 5 years recovery under their belt. There was a meeting I was at about a month ago, and the side that I was sitting on were all people that came in the same time I did. I was the only one that had not relapsed. during COVID. And that shook me because, again, you would think that at this point in time, we would have this figured out by now. And we, it's a disease, it's an illness. We have to continue to stay diligent on this. But it just is like I remember looking down the side of the table and thinking, oh my gosh, I'd never expected them or anybody to go back out. I thought they had it with the confidence that I think I have it. So maybe I don't. What does that look like? Because I know they always talk about like that first year is very crucial. So what does that look like at 5 years? So this is what I found. And I did some math. I'll tell you the part that I found and then I'll tell you the math I did. All right. So what I found was that at 5 years, 15% of us risk relapse. That's what they're seeing right now. And so I was thinking 15% out of a room of 10 people, that means 1.5 of us are walking out the door and maybe not coming back. That's at 5 years. So 1 out of 10 of us risk going out at 5 years. 5 years of having these roots established and coping skills established. Right. That's terrifying to me. Like this, even at 5 years, this doesn't get any better at this point on. Like me having that 15% chance of relapse, that's the best I'm going to get from this point out. And unfortunately, that's true for you too. Like that's the best we can achieve based off of what they're seeing right now. And so then at 1 year, it's completely flip-flopped. It's not 15% chance of relapsing. It is 85% chance or more is what I read this morning. So we're talking 85, 90% chance of relapse. So again, let's go back to the 10 people in that room. Only 1 of them are going to make it to past that first year. Only 1 out of a 10 when they all came in together. Like the fact we're around here still, if you seem to think it's not worth it, if it's bogus, you were a part of the 85% when you first came in. The odds were against you. And by the grace of your creator, you're still here and you have some type of level thinking, you should feel blessed because we beat the damn odds. Yep. So that first year, 9 out of 10 are going to walk back out. At 5 years, at least 1. It's 1.5. So at least 1 of us are walking back out the door at 5 years. That's just mind-blowing to me. We have to stay very diligent on this stuff.
That is. Thank you for sharing that. Like this, it's one of the things that keeps me humble and accountable is the aspect of I do fear going back out.
Yeah,
like,
me too.
I really do. And that's not to say that I live my life based in fear, but I definitely stay on top of the things that I should to keep myself afloat. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest tools for myself personally, it's been like when I feel some kind of way, I voice it. I voice it in a respectful way, but I still voice it because what happened before was I wasn't that person who was like, you really said something and it kind of hurt my feelings. I just carry it and I keep it, and then it would all pile up to be what takes me back out, right? And so for me, the biggest transition has been sharing what I'm actually feeling in a moment to make sure that I don't become one of those 85.
Right.
And I love the fact that when you and I were talking earlier, it was trying to figure out when is that flipping point from 15, like when does that happen? Like when do we do that? And no idea.
Right.
No idea.
Right. Oh, the other thing that I learned that we both realized as I was talking about it is that I couldn't find any statistics on anything after 5 years. Because I was like, okay, well, if I'm looking at 15%, maybe it's 5% whenever I hit 10, right? Because there's some I know a lot of people who have this long-term recovery at 30 years and 20 years. So it gets better, right? So the article, and I will share the article, I shared it with Michael. So the article I read stated something along the lines of, because at 5 years, we're still dealing with this 15%, that by the time 10 years comes around, there's not enough of us at that level or that long-term sobriety recovery that they can't even do a study. I didn't mean to chuckle. That's my bad coping skill. But that's it. There's not enough of people with that long-term recovery to even do the study at 10 years because we keep dwindling down.
It's crazy.
and keep dwindling down and keep dwindling down.
Would you, and this just thought came to my mind, would you think it's dwindling down, or do you think that because I've seen it happen to where there are people who get sober, manage to get to a certain length, and then they just kind of drop out of the recovery world, and the aspect of they no longer associate. You know what I mean?
I have seen. I do know what you're talking about.
And it's not that they think they're better or anything. They just feel as though they have such a solid that they don't have, for lack of a better term, they don't have time for those groups. Like, unfortunately, that happens.
Because we work off of spiritual practices and spiritual principles in around the rooms and stuff. I have noticed that a lot whenever people go and they get involved in their own personal spiritual practices, such as church, that because they learned what they needed around the tables, they can now take that and apply it to where they're at now. And as long as they stay focused on their spiritual aspect of things, they're okay.
Right.
What I have seen is a lot of people get this, I guess, delusional confidence.
Chip on the shoulder.
Maybe something like that. And so they don't need the tables anymore, or somebody says something that's offensive and like, well, I already know my basics. I've already gone through the steps. And then they take a step away, but they're not, staying determined and pursuing those spiritual practices. And that's where I see some people not coming back.
Right.
So as long as you stay focused on the spiritual aspect of things, I think people do okay. It's just when they're like you said, there's a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, and do know, like, in no way, shape, or form am I condoning that type of approach to recovery. It's just, it's one of those things that we do have to, I feel that we have to discuss, because like,
be aware of.
Yeah, because it does happen. It does happen. I pray for myself mentally that I always remember what it was like the very first day that I came in, and no matter how good life gets, I still need to be around the tables. I have to be around the tables. I have to be immersed, because I'm too much for myself. Like, too much. I'm medicated to deal with me. Like, right. And so in that aspect, like, one of the things I always pray is that when the time is right, that the right newcomer comes across my path and I can assist them, right? Because that's one thing that keeps us fresh. Like, do you find that helping newcomers helps you?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, so much so, like, because, again, this article, they were talking about people with 10 years, why do they go back out? And it's because they don't remember. They don't remember how bad it was. And I can say, from my own personal experience from having 5 years, there are times that I forget how difficult it is. And then I'll get a new sponsee, and it's like, oh, that's right. Yep, that was a thing. So it helps me on so many different levels. Just to remember where I was at and why I made the life decision to pursue my recovery and my growth. The second thing is that because of that ego, I've already been through the steps. I don't have to work so hard. I don't have to try so hard. I don't have to read so much. Every single time I work with a newcomer, all these spiritual tools in my toolbox, it sharpens them again. So I might have to read, like, in my literature, in the program that I use, I might have to read the doctor's opinion 20 times, but there's a lot in that doctor's opinion that I need to hear.
Right.
And I would not maybe open it up as frequently if I wasn't working with newcomers. The best one, though, is the gratitude list. I opened up my mouth last week and you all came through. I've been getting some like, hey, I'm going to send you my gratitude list. And sure enough, so like even that, like here's what's crazy is I said that last week before I got offered drugs 3 different times. And some of you started sending me gratitude lists. And then I've got sponsees that are sending me gratitude lists. So in the middle of all my grief this past week and all these heavy emotions, I'm making a gratitude list even though I don't want to. Despite me not wanting to, it still works because I'm working with newcomers. So like, I might be working with a newcomer because they need help, but they're helping me right in return. And it's a beautiful way that this whole thing works. I don't know ooh, this might be a strong statement. I don't know if I would still be sober if I didn't work with newcomers.
Okay, I think that's fair. That's fair.
Because I think I would have forgot a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wouldn't try so hard.
No.
But that fear,
Yeah. Yeah.
that fear keeps me present.
Yeah. I'm a slow learner and a fast forgetter.
Right.
So
right.
I have to. I hear you. I hear you 100%.
Yeah.
So I know that we probably addressed this already, but I do want to ask you, like just like you asked me last week about the 3 tools, the 3 tools that get me sober, right? And that I use daily. What are your 3 tools?
So I will say my 3 tools, because I've got a lot. They kind of rotate in and out sometimes. The one that I am leaning heavy on right now is making sure that I am in my Creator's will and not in my own. Because I have a tendency to want to take control back on things, and every single time I do, it's like I'm going against the grain, and it's very aggressive, and it's harsh, and it hurts. And I don't like where my life is going right now, and I don't have to. I just have to work in my Creator's will. So that's one thing. My network is huge. My network doesn't just consist of 12-step program recovery people. I've got some recovery people that don't work 12-step. I've got some really good normie friends that help me out. So my network's a little bit different, but I would probably be crazy if I had not had my network to help me out and to call me out on stuff like not working step 1. That's just okay. Because I need that, I need that in the middle. For me personally, when life hits, those emotions are so heavy, I can't think straight. And so I need those people around me to be like, whoa, hey, you're right. Because what would you say to me a couple weeks ago? You should be scared.
Yeah.
Because I was talking about how going through this medical crap is so difficult. And so it was just like, that made me okay with being scared about this, because I just thought I shouldn't be, right? I should be so confident and tough, and I'm not. So like just having somebody say like, no, you should be scared about what's going on. And it's okay to be. So my network is really, really huge. I'm going to say going back to 1, I'm going to also call that prayer.
Okay. Prayer
and remembering that I'm in God's will. Because normally by the time I remember it, I'm not in God's will. And so then I got to pray to be in God's will. So those 2 kind of go hand in hand. And then my 3rd one, my 3rd one is probably my gratitude list. Yeah. Those help me out so much. Just get me. I'm a selfish thing. And the moment I get selfish, the moment I lose my humility, and the moment I start to slide. So my gratitude lists are a really big thing for me, because it helps me protect my headspace. Right. And my headspace can be a scary place if I don't focus on it. So those might be prayer and constant contact with my higher power, right. My network, and I just forgot the last thing I said. Gratitude list. Gee, this is whatever.
I love you so much. Oh my goodness.
I'm still a hot mess.
I forever shall we be a hot mess, please. So I want to say that's about it for this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything else in closing?
I just want to say that, like, if you have more than a year and life has hit you and you just feel completely defeated, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay. That's what life does. Yeah. There's heavy emotions there, and it's okay to sit still with them. They might be intimidating, they might be scary, but I can say from experience that you can navigate through them, and you don't have to use over it. You don't. It might feel that way. You might want to, but that's a choice. You don't have to. You can do it otherwise. So.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you for all of you who joined us this morning. If you have any questions, you're more than know we're going to go back and read the comments that are posted and get back to you on those. You can find us at Still Here Recovery Facebook page, Still Here Recovery YouTube channel. Who knew that's happening? And feel free to message us. Like, we're always open. We're always available. Next week is it going
I'm so
to be
excited about next week.
It's
I'm
going
so
to be
excited.
a fun topic.
Because we don't talk about me so much as why.
I love
like
it. Next week we're doing cross
addictions.
cross addictions are very real. Just to give you a snippet, a lot of times we end up replacing one addiction for another and blending them together. And what does that look like? What does that sound like? What does that feel like? Everyone is different. And I want to end this by saying we are no professionals. Like,
We forgot to say that at the beginning.
we forgot to say that at the beginning. We are not professionals. We are only sharing our experience in recovery and how that feels for us individually, but also utilizing the differences to help create a conversation together.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right,
All
y'all.
right.
I hope you all have a great day. Do something today that's going to put a smile on your face and somebody else's while you're at it.
Yeah.
I'm Ray.
I'm Michael. Love you all so much. Ta-ta for now.
Bye-bye.